Hey guys. Oh my god, the live is switched. This is so strange. So today I'm going to be doing the live stream on, you can see all my wires as well. Just ignore the wires, you know. But today's live stream is on focus on embodying what you already know rather than focusing on more. What do I mean by this? You guys, we are very smart people. You are very smart people. You know enough. That is what I'm saying here. You know enough to do the thing. You don't need to learn more. You do not need to learn anything more than what you already know. You already know what you need to do. Now it's time to actually do it, or learn at least how to do it if you don't know how to do it. But you know what you already need to do in order to get where you want to be. The issue is that we're stuck in the information trap right now. We're stuck in a world of consumption. We're stuck in a world of quick videos, 5-second reels, 2-second TikToks, and it gets us in this trap of consumption. But you guys already know what you need to do. You know what you need to do the next step. And so in this video, I'm going to teach you 5 ways. Wait, is it 5 ways? 1, 2, 3, 4 ways. 4 ways on how you can embody what you already know. Because the truth is, the fact that you already know it, but you're not embodying it, is actually a way of spiritually bypassing. Because we think that we're doing inner work by watching more things, learning new things, doing more things. But really, we are just, the doing thing that we're doing is watching. The actual action part, the actual doing part isn't there, it's non-existent. We're just consuming more, and consuming more isn't really doing. Consuming more isn't really doing anything. The fact that you guys are like on YouTube right now looking at loads of videos, or maybe you just clicked on this video, I don't know. But if you're on YouTube right now looking at videos on how to manifest, how to do inner work, all of these things, I want you to take note of that and actually spend time doing that, doing inner work. So that the amount of time you've spent learning about inner work, actually then doing the inner work. I have a journal where I will write down everything that I learn, and then I'll embody it later on. I'll go and do the actual work afterwards. After I've chilled for a bit, after I've watched the videos, after I've learned, then I'll go and do it afterwards now. But this wasn't always me, you guys. This wasn't always me at all. In fact, I used to literally sit there and watch YouTube videos all day, every day. YouTube, real estate, business advice. That was literally such a low grade version of me. That was me like being totally not aware of myself. Like I didn't have the emotional awareness. I didn't have the self-awareness, right? I just thought I was learning more. Yes, like I'm doing so good right now. I'm learning. I'm gonna get so far. Like I'm way ahead of most people my age. And then now at this age, I'm literally nearly 27, and now this is where I realized that I've actually been spiritually bypassing all of these years. All of these years I've been thinking I'm doing so well, I know so much, but the truth is I hadn't embodied any of it. So don't make the same mistake as me. So number 1 is embodying emotional intelligence. Embody your emotional intelligence. If you've been doing inner work for a while, you know what emotional intelligence is, and you know what you need to do. Again, you know what you need to do with your emotional intelligence. You know how to embody the emotional intelligence. So what you need to be doing is, for example, catching yourself getting emotionally charged. This is like, if for instance you're getting angry at someone, or you get like infuriated with someone randomly, or someone is genuinely arguing with you, like those random people in the street or like in public, or just anyone really, like in the shop, and they get angry at people for like no reason, do you get annoyed back? Because if so, where does that reflect something in yourself? Where does what they did reflect something that you have in yourself? Like, what is it teaching you when you're getting emotionally charged, right? This is literally shadow work 1-on-1. Also, catch yourself when you get defensive and ask yourself, what am I afraid of happening? I used to get so defensive a lot because I was a really stubborn person. And once I got to the truth of why I was being so stubborn all the time, and I asked myself, why, what am I afraid of happening? I got to truth with the fact that I've actually always been stubborn because I'm afraid of being wrong. I'm afraid of being in the wrong, and that threatens my confidence that was already low. My already felt low self confidence was then being threatened. And this is the truth for a lot of us. So if you are resonating with being stubborn, have you actually realized that you actually have quite low self-confidence? Like you care about what other people think too much, you give away your power. Are you a stubborn person? Because I was. I was afraid of being wrong, and if I was in the wrong, that meant to me that I was then gonna be told off, and I was then gonna be hurt or shouted at, right? So then if someone would try and say to me, "Oh, why'd you do it this way?" I'd be like, "Well, I can do it anyway, can't I? Like, I wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, what? What are you talking about?" You know, that kind of thing. That's what I was doing. So then secondly, this is another way you can embody what you already know without spiritually bypassing any longer. Number 2 is start doing the light work around self-love and self-acceptance. And before you think, "Oh my god, I've heard about this too many times," there is a reason why you've heard about it too many times, but I'm gonna tell you exactly why everyone tells you to do this. So, everything we are afraid of in this world, which stops us from taking action, specifically embodiment, stems from us not accepting ourselves enough. Us caring about what other people think too much, so we're afraid of showing up online or taking the heart-aligned actions with our heart-aligned business, showing up online, selling ourselves, selling our products, selling our work, selling our services. All of these things come from us being afraid of what other people think. We're afraid of showing up online, we're afraid of what people think. If we cared, so you imagine a person right now, you imagine someone that loves themselves so much. There's no such thing as overconfidence. People associate overconfidence with arrogance, and arrogance is rudeness. That is arrogant. Like rudeness and confidence are completely different things, you guys. You cannot be overly confident and straight away you're arrogant. Like you have to be rude separately, right? If someone's really confident and overly confident, right? There's nothing bad about that. It doesn't mean that they're rude, okay? So when I say they love themselves a lot, I mean they love themselves a lot healthily. It doesn't mean that they're rude, okay? That's just a combination that a lot of rude people have given the world. They've given the world that expectation now. Like if they're confident, it means they're rude, right? They're two separate characteristics, right? You can love yourself a lot. So you imagine someone that loves themselves loads and they genuinely accept themselves fully. Do you think they're gonna give a crap about what someone else thinks of them? Or someone else's opinion when they say you shouldn't do this thing this way, you should do it another way. Here's what I think. Do you think they're going to care? Or do you think they're just going to show up fully themselves online, in person, wherever? They're going to show up in person, online, wherever themselves, aren't they? Because they don't care what other people think. Because they're solid in themselves. They love themselves and they care about themselves and they fully accept themselves. So they're not going to care what other people think. This is literally the problem here. Also, giving away our creative power instead of the ideas from coming within. So, giving away our creative power instead of letting the ideas come from within is another way of not accepting yourself fully because you're telling them, then, someone online, when you're Googling and YouTubing stuff, you're saying that their opinion is more important than yours and that they know what's best for you more than you know what's best for you. So, again, when you give away your creative power and you let other people decide things for you, it's because you don't accept yourself enough. You don't love yourself enough. You haven't accepted yourself fully. So, therefore, the second way on how you can actually embody everything you've learned already, you don't need to learn anymore. You can embody what you already know. The second way is by doing the light work around self-love and acceptance. I have been journaling recently on any shadows that I have remaining in any areas of my life, and there is still shadows that I have, and they all relate to self-acceptance and self-love. Even though I've been doing the self-love work for a few months now, like truly self-love work, right? It wasn't until I started this YouTube channel that I truly began the journey of like real just everything, right? Like that was my real inner work journey when I started to create the YouTube channel. And this is why I say to you, start creating instead of learning as well. Start doing instead of learning more. You already know enough, just start creating. Just start doing the thing that you want to do, and everything else will come after that. It wasn't until I gave myself the permission to start doing the thing, start creating the YouTube channel, that then I gave myself the permission then to actually start doing the real proper inner work, start creating. And then by creating, I learned things about myself. By creating, I gave myself that position of like, okay, well, now I'm in this almost authoritative position because I'm trying to teach something. So now I really need to get on my grind. You have to give yourself that responsibility and that permission, right, to actually start doing the thing. Whereas a lot of people are stuck in, oh, I want to do the thing, I want to start this thing, but I don't feel like I'm ready yet. That's the lack of self-confidence and the lack of self-love, the lack of acceptance. You haven't accepted all of your shadows yet. You haven't accepted yourself fully. You think you might be cringe, you think you might not be good enough, all of these things. Self-love and acceptance. So start doing the light work around self-love and acceptance, and also the shadow work, right? So then number 3 is, instead of listening to others' wisdom, start listening to your own. Comes back to the same thing. You already have lived an entire life. I don't care if you're 20, 15, 30, or even 50 or older. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You've lived a lifetime. You've had your unique experiences. You already have a ton of wisdom inside of you already that you know. You've already consumed a lot of content in this information era. You don't need to be consuming more. What you really need to be doing is getting in tune with your wisdom, your opinions, and your values. Because the more you are out of touch with your opinions and values, the more you're going to take on other people's opinions and values as your own. And then you're just more and more and more getting off track of authenticity. You're more and more adopting other people's beliefs, actions, and personality, and then you're wondering why you haven't found the happiness, the purpose, you're not achieving your dream life, your manifestations aren't happening, because you're getting more and more and more steered away from that heart aligned self. And the more you listen to other people online, the more you consume more information, the more you distract yourself from your own inner voice. So instead of listening to others' wisdom online or around you, start listening to your own. So how do we do this? So an example that I'm gonna like talk about forever is journaling. Practice discipline. Journal every single day. Get your thoughts on paper. Get your to-do list on paper. Your intentions on paper. Your ideas on paper. When you journal and you just give yourself like 15 minutes every day to just get it all out on paper and just do the thing, that is when you'll start writing pages, your ideas, your thoughts, what I'm going to do this week, how I felt today, how I'm going to manifest, and then you start thinking, I'm so excited for when this thing's going to manifest. And before you know it, you've journaled for pages. You've gone on the biggest self-discovery journey in those first few pages than you have done in the last month or even year if you never let yourself sit with yourself. So instead of listening to everyone else, start listening to yourself for once. Stop giving away your power and allow your desires to start talking. If you don't know what you want, it's probably because you've been listening to what everyone else wants and what everyone else has, rather than listening to what you truly want, writing stuff down, meditating on it, visualizing stuff, and actually listening to your desires and what you want, what your heart is calling out for. So instead of going, oh, I don't know what I want, and then you'll start like YouTubing videos on how to get in tune with your intuition, instead of going to everyone else for the instructions, giving away your power, sit with yourself. Get in tune with your intuition. Start listening to your heart. Stop giving away the power, right? Also, you can ask yourself, what have I learned so far? Journal on what you've learned in the last few days, few weeks. Can you actually remember anything that you've watched or learned? What have you learned in the last week? What did someone tell you in a video or seminar or course or movie? What did you learn? Most of the time, you guys, it goes in one ear and out the other ear, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Because we're not actually embodying it. We're not revisiting the information. We're watching these things for pure entertainment purposes when we're relaxed and we just want a bit of fun and entertainment. When really, if you're in the self-development space, every video is gold. Every piece of advice someone is giving you is gold, but we're literally just consuming and consuming, and it's literally sending our nervous system off the rails. And we're not embodying it. We're just consuming the information. A lot of it's going in one ear, out the other ear, and a lot of it is just staying in our head and we're not actually doing anything with it. Like, we're not actually embodying it. We're not even regurgitating it either. Whereas what I first started doing last year when I started YouTube is I just started regurgitating the information that I already knew. Before I started to properly embody it, I just started regurgitating it. I was like, yo, guys, I love manifestation. This is what I've learned. I'm going to give you the information that I've been learning recently. I'm going to give you the stories. I even did like manifestation story times. Like, that was what I did. That was me starting the thing, right? And then once I got into it, I was like, okay, now I'm actually learning and I'm embodying and I'm really getting to something now. Then my channel switched to like the more like how to do this. This is the inner work that you need to be doing, rather than just like, here's a new technique I learned from Level Goddard and like regurgitating, right? There's a difference between the regurgitation and the embodiment. And the embodiment is what when you start to do what you've learned in this video, when you actually start doing it and implementing it, that is when people are going to want to pay you, right? Because else you're just another video, another entertainment video, another cool photography pic online, or another piece of music that you can listen to, right? Whatever it is you want to do and you want to embody and live your life doing, your dream purpose to get paid to exist, whatever that is for you, you need to be embodying the thing rather than just learning and creating entertainment stuff and doing whatever, right? The embodiment part is what we actually want to be doing. So this is also like, if you're a musician, right, and you're just doing a cover of someone else's music rather than allowing yourself to actually produce your own music and put yourself out there and be vulnerable by giving them your music and your lyrics rather than just doing a cover. That's the difference between the entertainment and then you actually putting yourself out there and embodying the musician, doing the inner work around being seen and around being vulnerable and allowing people to actually see your creative work, rather than giving away your creative power to an existing artist. See where I'm going here? You can also ask yourself, lastly, what advice would you give to someone else in your position? So you imagine that you have a friend that has the same problems as you, where like maybe you're not taking the action, and they come up to you and they're like, hey, I'm just taking in loads of information right now. I'm not really embodying it and taking action. What can I do? Like, what inner work do I need to do next? And you'll find that suddenly you know what to say to them. Suddenly you know what to do because you're trying to help them. But that was there the entire time. You knew that information inside of you. It's just you've never took your own advice. You've never got in tune with your own wisdom, but it's there. The truth is you can already get paid to exist. It's just you're not allowing yourself to open yourself up because you're too busy consuming everything else rather than embodying. So then the last one is, again, you're consuming gold every day, but it's just going in one ear and out the other ear. So the fourth thing you can do to embody everything that you've learned, that you've already learned, because you're already clearly very like, I feel like you're already into self-development space. So you've already learned a lot. So doing what I've started doing a while ago, and that's writing down the advice that resonates with you. When you're like, oh my God, that really hits home. That's something I've really needed right now. you write down that advice that resonates with you, and instead of consuming more, disciplining yourself again and revisiting this advice frequently, thinking about it and think, how can I apply it to my life? This was really valuable information. So, therefore, now I'm going to revisit this advice frequently to make sure I'm actually embodying it and it's getting literally like severed into my mind. So, I have an app, my notes app, and I have a notes page full of all the advice of quotes and things that I've learned that really, really applied to me and that really resonated with me and hit home when I did actually listen to them. I didn't want to forget them. And I'll revisit that note every once in a while when I'm just feeling like it, or I'm like, right, I'm going to do some inner work, get out my notebook. What do I need to remind myself? And if something pops up from that list where I'm like, oh, I haven't been doing that recently, or oh, that really applies to my situation now, then I'll be like, okay, let's start doing some inner work. And I just start journaling on it, thinking of what comes up, doing the shadow work around it, maybe even some light work. Maybe I start writing that, I'm really good at this and I can do it. And like I start hyping myself up. That is what you can do. So those were 4 ways, not 8, 4 ways that you can actually start embodying instead of just consuming and taking in more and more and more information. And instead of dysregulating your mind, you can actually start doing the inner work around it and taking the action. Because remember, the container requires the action. The consumption is great, education is great, but it's a piece of the pie. You actually need to take the action and do the inner work. So if you've got to the end of this video and you realize that this is a shadow that you actually have that I've just revealed to you, where you've been consuming but not doing, maybe you say like, oh, I meditate, but the last time I meditated was like 3 weeks ago. So do you really meditate, or do you just meditate when you feel like it? So yeah, if I have just revealed a shadow to you, let me know down below. And I'm going to head off now because I need to go and make my dinner. So I hope this video helped you. Have a lovely, lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.